Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Roots of Life podcast. This is episode 14. I am one of your hosts, Taylor, joined by the always fantastic and amazing James.
Hey, everybody, how's it going? So I'm really excited about this episode. It focuses on something that I've been really thinking about for a long time. Today we're going to talk about traveling, which I have a lot of friends right now traveling in Southeast Asia, and I've been trying to plan a couple trips myself. And happiness, practices to get happy and stay happy. Taylor, you were telling me that you are going to be going to a Vipassana retreat, if I'm saying that right. Can you tell the listeners what that is and what made you want to do it?
Well, like many of the endeavors in my life have been influenced by one of my good friends, John Sketchley. As some of the listeners may know, and you know very well, Jimmy, I've been friends with John for a long time, and he's always been exploring new things and just teaching me things and taking me on the journey with him. And so I'm so grateful for him for that. I can only speak so much about Vipassana because I am not super versed in it. It is a form of meditation that comes from old Buddhist teachings, but I know what I'm going to do to practice it is I'm basically going to prepare myself for a couple days before I go. I will be going in May for 11 days, 10 days of silence. So I won't have anything to write with. I won't have anything to read. I won't have any form of technology, no form of outside stimulation. So that's something I'm really excited for.
I've actually heard about this when I was in university. I had a couple friends say they were going to go do it and actually invited me to do it as well. And I thought about going, but I never ended up doing it. I think it's really cool though, but I don't know if I could last 10 days without like writing, reading, or any of that.
You hardly talk when you do it either. It's very minimal.
Yeah, writing, reading, talking.
I'm not sure if you stay completely silent. I know there are certain silent retreats that you do stay completely silent. I'm not sure about this one. I think there might be minimal communication with the camp directors or the people who run the facility.
So you just kind of wanted to try this out, or do you have like a goal on what you want to achieve by doing it?
Well, I did do some reading on it a little while back, and what had been studied was, there was people who had sat and in silence and meditated for a long period of time, and what they started to do is they realized that in modern day and in most societies in this age, people can't go away for say a month or 2 months or 3 months and take that time away from their lives. Like, it's just not practical anymore. And so what they did is they started studying how much they could scale it back and still reap the benefits from it.
Okay.
So the idea is that, they tried 2 weeks. They were at 14 days. If we do this for 14 days, can you still accomplish what you need to accomplish in 14 days? They figured out, yes, you can. Okay, so they scaled it back to 10 days. Can you still accomplish what you need to accomplish? Yes. Okay, so they scaled it back to a week. And then they figured out, I think they said a week is still even like, you're going to get, say, 70% of the benefits as opposed to 10 days where you can still really get down to the meat and bones of it all. And then 5 days is like just not enough time. You're not getting there, and it's just not going to cut it. So they adjusted their teachings to that of modern society.
I like that.
And how they could still teach it to people and still help people benefit from their practice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So, yeah, and so I did. John had went, and John taught me about it and told me about it. And this was at a point when I had started doing yoga regularly, and I was meditating on my own. And it was something I had heard about before. I can't remember where, maybe on a podcast somewhere, and I was super intrigued by it. but did not pursue it. And
Yeah.
then once somebody I knew had gone through it and experienced it, and I could notice the difference in John, and I would just like, from talking to him and seeing him in the same room and seeing the difference in his character and the energy that surrounded him, I wanted that. And I'm also very aware that I have a lot of, say, underlying, emotional trauma and issues and stuff like that from my childhood. And I think this is a great way to challenge it and face those things and see if I can maybe start working on digging those up and start moving forward in my life.
I like that. You get to go and like challenge yourself to actually feel the emotions and work with everything that you got going on inside, and not just distract yourself with different media and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very common in these days that people don't want to face their fears or face those traumas in their life.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to avoid them.
Yeah.
Or, if you're depressed, then rather than doing something happy, that will help you be happy, that we're going to talk about later on, it's a lot easier for a doctor to give you a pill, because nobody wants to work for the things in life,
No.
right? It's a common thing now where people just want the easy way out.
Yeah. Hand me that pill and I'll take it and it'll make me happy.
Yeah. I had told somebody else recently about the retreat, and they were like, and I kind of just said, I think I have some other demons that I need to face in my life. And they said to me, have you ever thought about going to a therapist? I was like, yeah, I'm going in May.
Yeah. I'm the best therapist that I know.
Exactly. I am the therapist.
You know what you need to do to like get these things out. Sometimes you don't, and you need to go see somebody to talk about it. But you're already on that path where you're finding things that work for you. You're working towards bettering yourself. So at this point, I'd say you're probably the best therapist for yourself. You know what you need. You know how you want it accomplished, and you know where you want to end up.
Yeah, so I'm going to take that journey. I'm going to challenge myself. And I do know people that go stir crazy.
Yeah.
They end up in there for, it takes a couple days, they say, to settle down. And because you want to talk, you want to do things, you want that stimulation, your brain starts craving for it. And then it takes a certain number of days where your body's like, okay, I can calm down, I can relax. And then that's when you really start getting into like the deep search within you and start discovering things that you didn't understand, and you just start learning a lot about yourself. I think that's ultimately what it is for me. It's going to be just some self-exploration and see what I can learn about myself.
Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to answer this question, but do you know if you get to do any kind of like activities, or do they just tell you to like no talking, nothing, and sit there, like be quiet, meditate kind of thing? Or is there like you can paint and other things, or is that's like too much stimulation?
Yeah, there's virtually nothing. There's no painting. You don't get a pen or pencil. You don't get to write. There's nothing of the sort. You meditate for, I want to say it's like 5 hours a day or 6 hours a day. I read all this information. I signed up for it months and months and months ago, and I canceled. I was supposed to go in January originally. Didn't go because we were in the heart of getting the podcast started, and I was working through the Artist Way program and didn't want to interrupt that. No, I did not finish the program, unfortunately, which was why I didn't go. So that made me realize that, I was making excuses for myself, but now I'm actively taking the steps to make sure that I'm prepared to go in May. My point being that I can't remember exactly, but I think it's 5 to 6 hours of meditation a day. You eat a vegetarian-based diet, and I think you get to go walk for a little bit. You get to go outside and walk around in nature for a little bit.
Well, that's good. At least you get something.
Yeah, there's something, right? So, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what it all entails, but there's a hall, and you're encouraged to go. There's certain like group meditations where you all go meditate in the hall together, and then you're supposed to go back and meditate in your room some more, and then you go eat at certain times of the day, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it. I am going to Merritt. For those of you that don't know, Merritt is just outside of Jimmy's little city, Kamloops.
Yeah, it's about 45-minute drive.
Is it really that far?
Yeah, it's actually pretty decently far, but it's not like you can make it in a little faster if you're going real quick on the highway, but that's if you go the speed limit, it's about 45 minutes.
That's fair. We all drive safe on the roads.
Of course.
Absolutely. Don't speed unless you have a fast car. So yeah.
You were talking about John telling you about this. And right now, where is John?
It's a great question. I would have to look at my Facebook messages. He is in Central America. I can't remember. He's been traveling a lot.
That's totally fair.
Last time I talked to him, he was going to be going to a different country the following day.
Oh, right.
And,
yeah,
we
were talking about that.
And he always tells me these crazy stories about what he's doing. So that day, he was saying how we hiked a mountain today. And then the following day was we're going into the city and we're going to like go do that. And then the following day was we hiked a volcano. Tomorrow we're going to another country. I thought it was great. That sounds so exciting. I wish I could do that. But I am going on my own journey to Merritt in May. So that's exciting.
To Merritt to gain your merits.
I don't think anybody has ever gone to Merritt to gain their merits.
I think you're right.
It's one of those small towns that nobody ever stops in. Well, maybe it's a good spot to stop in if you're traveling throughout the interior of BC.
Oh, definitely. I love stopping there, like grabbing some food or whatever on my way past.
Yeah.
But I don't ever do anything there.
No, and I'm the same way. I've been to Merritt many times, and it's usually stopping for gas or at the gas station.
Mm-hmm. Grabbing a little energy drink or something, whatever it is.
Something of that nature, yeah.
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 So, talking about wanting to travel and John traveling, do you think traveling is a necessary part of life? Like exploring the world around us and seeing things that are different? Anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think growing up, the world only gets bigger as you grow. When you're 5 years old and you're 3-4 feet high, you have no concept of how big the world actually is. And then when you get to the age where you become more conscious and you start to explore those ideas, but you never leave your hometown, like your bubble's so small. There's so much out there, and there's different cultures, and there's history, and there's people live different ways. And if you never explore that, then I think it creates narrow-minded thoughts.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
I think it's like you got to grow, and I don't think you can do that if you haven't seen anything.
I think if you stay in one spot, you're going to be inundated with the same kind of thinking all the time. You're not going to be able to see different mindsets, different points of view from like a vastly different part of the world or something like that. Where like maybe you do meet different people from other parts of the world that live around your hometown, but they're probably not going to have completely different viewpoint than you, to the point where you're kind of wondering how they're even managing to live through life. For example, like when I went to Mexico when I was in high school, we were on a band trip with a cruise ship down to Mexico, and we went there, and I was just surprised to see how everybody kind of lived there, where they're all kind of working on the side of the streets. Obviously it was a touristy kind of area. They're working on the side of the streets, selling things, calling to you, following you, doing whatever just to try and get your business. Where if I was here and that happened, people would right away be calling like the police or anything like that, because they're like, this dude's following me, he's harassing me, arrest him. Where like that's just the way they live there. It's not an aggressive act. That's just part of their culture.
And that expands your awareness, right? That creates
Yeah.
that diversity and that different way of thinking that we always talked about, that shift. So it's important to open your mind and open the possibilities around
Mm-hmm.
you. So,
Yeah.
because what seems weird here is not weird there. I always compare it to Seattle. Seattle is so close to us. It's maybe an hour drive depending on which part of the border you go to, and it's so different there. And it's only 2 hours away. I mean, it's, I guess maybe not too different, but it feels different. I know it's not here. I know it's not BC. I know it's not Vancouver. I know it's not home.
Yeah. It doesn't feel it. I think it's just the fact that it's not Canada. It doesn't feel as like when I was there, it didn't feel as friendly. It didn't feel as like as safe. But that might have just been because it was my first time in Seattle and I was kind of figuring everything out. It was new to me and everything was kind of scary because you don't know where you are, what you're doing. It's just all kind of random and crazy.
Yeah, I went to Seattle about 6 months ago, and it was my first time there. Got into Seattle, driving for about a half hour, and somebody that I was in the car with says, yeah, somebody shot up that mall the other day. Like, went in there and slayed people. Like, I don't know how many people died. And I was, wow, I was so amazed because it's just right there, and that's not something that happens here.
Yeah, not as much, at least.
No, we had somebody run into a save-on close to my work the other day with pepper spray.
Yeah, I know there was like a bank robbed here recently, but you don't really hear of like mass shootings or anything like that around here.
No.
I mean, more so, there's been a couple in like the eastern side of Canada, like Ontario and things like that, but even then it's a lot more rare than being able to just be like, oh, it was that mall 2 days ago.
So you said you wanted to travel, Jimmy. You said you had some plans for the future. Tell us about them. Let me hear it. Where do you want to travel to?
I have a few friends recently, actually a lot of friends recently, that have gone to like Southeast Asia, like India, Thailand, Vietnam. And honestly, I've always kind of wanted to go there and just experience those cultures and those parts of the world. Just see all the beautiful sights to see, experience the fun traveling life for a little while. But just recently, with all these people that have gone, you and I both share a friend group that went. They all live in Vancouver or Vancouver Island right now, and they were in India for a few weeks, and they shared their whole trip through their Instagram stories, and I think they made a YouTube video about it as well. And it was really cool to just see all the cool things that they got to see, and seeing all of my friends go and do these things really made me want to go and actually experience it instead of just dream about it. So I've actually been planning a trip, but not to Southeast Asia because I had somewhere else that I wanted to go before I went there. The other place I want to go is to Iceland. I've seen a lot of really cool pictures of the landscape there. It's heavily covered in volcanoes, basically. It's got parts of the year where there's no sun, parts of the year where there's sun for like 48 hours, 72 hours straight. Doesn't go down.
Why 72 hours though? Or like why for 1 or 2 days but not the entire season?
Well, it's because you know how like the days get shorter and longer as the season goes on.
Right.
So when you get to like the longest day of the year, the sun's not gonna go down in certain areas. But after that longest day, the days start to get shorter again. So the sun will go down for like a little while, maybe like 5 minutes or something, and then just get longer and longer, like 5 minutes one day, then like 7 minutes the next day. I don't know how fast those things change each day, but it's really cool. And one of the things I really want to do is they actually hold a festival. Well, there's probably lots of festivals, but there's a music festival that they have during the summer when the sun doesn't go down. They call it the Secret Solstice Festival, and it's just like music for like a couple days straight because the sun doesn't go down. And I really want to go and do that. I think it'd be fun.
That'd make for a long couple days.
Yeah, it really would. But that's where I want to go next. There's just a lot of cool stuff there. And Iceland actually publishes and buys, as consumers, more books than anywhere else in the world. So I thought that was really cool too.
They consume more books?
Yeah, they read apparently and publish more books than any other country in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty sweet. And a couple other places I want to go. I want to drive across Canada because I want to go see the East Coast. I've never been past BC in Canada.
There's not much to see.
Yeah, I've been told the center of Canada is not so great. But I also want to drive down the West Coast, probably down all the way to San Diego, maybe even further, but especially down to San Diego, back up, just to experience everything on the West Coast there. I think it'd be really fun. A friend of ours, John, and I have been planning that for a long time since we were in high school and just haven't done it. We both have like different schedules, and each summer it never really lines up. So
you'll get there one day.
Are there any places that you really want to go to that you've been planning?
No, not really. I mean, there's lots of places I would like to go, but there's nothing that I'm actively preparing for.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got so many other things on my plate, and
yeah,
I'm in this time of my life where I'm really just trying to explore inward, and
yeah.
I think there's something to be said for exploring yourself and exploring the world around you. I totally appreciate and acknowledge and think that when people travel, it's great and you can learn and benefit from it so much. I think there's a time and place for it. I think that there's some people who base their life around traveling, and I think that can be somewhat unhealthy in certain ways.
It turns into like escapism.
Yeah, exactly. And it's because you're like scared to start your life, or you don't have those roots or that foundation built underneath you, and so you're constantly running. And so I think that can be an issue for some people, where I think I should do more traveling though. I haven't done a ton in my life. I've been to Hawaii once. I went to San Francisco for a week, and I've traveled throughout most of Western Canada.
Yeah.
And so that's about the extent of my travels. I've gone through Western Canada a lot, doing a lot of snowboarding and stuff of that nature. So that's always fun. I would like to do more of that come probably next winter. I had a season's pass this year, so I stayed at home and did a lot of boarding that way, which people have definitely heard us talk about before.
Oh, for sure.
Because I mean, for me, that's one of my happiest places in the world, is on the mountainside. Is just on a mountain, whether I have boots strapped to my feet or I've got a snowboard strapped to my feet, whatever it might be, that's a place that I find really peaceful and just, a lot of serenity. And I find that I can really manifest that in my life when I make it a regular practice to go to those places.
I like it.
I do hope to one day go to Peru though. Peru's a very exciting one. Yeah.
What draws you to Peru?
The shamans and the Amazon and the culture, and it seems very...
The ayahuasca.
Yeah, everything. Yeah, I'm super interested, and that's part of my...
Yeah.
And I think that's almost a combination of what I just talked about in terms of the exploration inward and the exploration outward. It would be a new place, put myself in a vulnerable spot, and give me the chance to explore myself as well as explore other cultures for however many days it might be. But I don't know when that'll happen. I've looked into it many times, and it's one of those things that feels a little bit out of my reach at the moment. So
yeah, that's fair.
I hope that one day it's not, or I hope that one day I stop telling myself it's out of my reach and I just start making the active steps towards doing it. Right now, my goal is to get to May and get to Merritt for 10 days. So that's something that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that sounds like it'll be really fun, actually.
I don't know if fun's the word, but it's gonna be something, that's for sure.
Definitely. So we were talking about how sometimes traveling can be not beneficial for you in a way. It can be almost bad and unhealthy. One of those ways I would see as possibly being quite unhealthy is what some people do for travel is sex tourism. Now, I'm going to read the definition for that out. The organization of vacation with the purpose of taking advantage of the lack of restrictions imposed on prostitution and other sexual activities by some foreign countries. So, what that's saying is that some people plan to go to certain countries that don't have as strict prostitution laws, or in some cases laws against child pornography and things like that. And it's actually a really lucrative industry where it actually makes a lot of money because people will just go on vacation for the purpose of having sex. And that's, a lot of studies say that's more of the male side of the sex tourism, where the female side is what they would call more romance tourism, where they go more for that romantic encounter. So a lot of women are found to be going to like tropical places like the Caribbean and Hawaii and things like that, where they want to meet somebody on the beach, have that romantic week or two away, and then come home and continue on with their life, however that may be. So do you have any thoughts on those practices, Taylor?
Well, you can have sex at home. I just don't see why. I don't, obviously everybody's different, but
Yeah.
do you not have any bigger ambitions as to like go on vacation for any other reason?
Yeah, that's kind of
If you wanted to get a prostitute, could you not do that in your hometown?
But Taylor, it's illegal here.
Right. Well, get an online dating profile.
That's what I say. I don't understand. I kind of get the like idea of the romance tourism where you want to go somewhere far away, have that romantic encounter for a week, come home, and you're like, cool, that's done. I'm going to continue on with my life, kind of thing. I kind of understand that, where you want that. It's like that enchanting, magical experience.
It's every girl's fantasy.
Yeah.
Every girl wants to be swept off their feet by a man. Not every girl, but there's that idea. There's yeah, exactly. But there's the picture, the idea that the media portrays, or that is like ingrained in us from, Disney movies when we're a kid are a good example, right? Where it's all about the man rescuing the princess, and a lot of girls grow up wanting that experience.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I would, the thought of, cool, I'm going to travel to Europe and I'm going to meet some nice girl and spend a week with her and have this like romantic relationship. And then I get to come home and I get to like keep doing like that. Sounds like a great experience,
Yeah.
Not necessarily doing it just for the sexual expectation, I guess. But, yeah. So I think taking advantage of certain countries for their pre-Jurassic laws cannot be beneficial for anyone. I don't think any of those sex workers are living in what we would consider above the poverty line.
Yeah, I mean, there's some countries that like Amsterdam has relaxed prostitution laws. I don't know much about the obviously the way the prostitutes live there, but I know that that country has really good healthcare and social care. So I'm sure with those relaxed laws comes some other laws with how those women are supposed to be treated and things like that.
That comes into the argument of, when you think about drugs, they talk about the war on drugs, and they say that if you just make it legal, then you're not making regular people interact with drug dealers or with criminals. You're regulating it a lot more, and I think maybe that's what Amsterdam was trying to do, because it was known for its red light district and for a lot of the people who were in that industry. And it was legal. I don't know if it was illegal. Did it become legal recently?
No, it's been legal for a long time, I think. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So hypothetically, if it was illegal, now you're creating all this like underground crime network of people just trying to live and people trying to work, and you're just punishing them for it. So if you make it legal, then you're at least giving them the ability to be open about their practice and what they're doing, creating a lot safer environments for everybody.
Hopefully they'd have better access to healthcare and things like that. Whereas if they're working underground, like in underground prostitution ring kind of thing, they're not going to necessarily have that access. It won't be as easy for them to get.
Grab the clothes hanger.
Oh no.
That was bad.
So bad.
I know. I'm
That
sorry.
was bad.
On that note, we're going to take a quick little break, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back with you in a few more minutes with our next segment of the day. Stay tuned. Thank you.
If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Roots of Life podcast. We just want to take a quick moment to ask you if you have 1 or 2 minutes out of your day to take the quick survey posted in the description below. It just takes a quick couple minutes. It's short and concise, just helps us gather some information. We would greatly appreciate it. You can also find us on patreon.com/rootsoflife. Donate $1 a month and you can get a bonus episode for your listening pleasure. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the social media handles /rootsoflifepodcast, except for Twitter, which is Roots of Life Pod. They don't like the cast, too long. That's okay. Forget it. But thank you for listening. Let's get back into the episode. Thanks, everybody. We're back now with a new segment that me and Jimmy came up with yesterday. It's very simple, very basic, but super exciting. We're excited for it. We think you're all going to like it. We're calling it What Tickles My Fancy. Jimmy, what tickles your fancy?
Well, the fact that we have a new segment, I'm really excited about it. We did a lot of work yesterday. We sat down for about 5 hours working on a few different episode templates, getting them ready. But what really tickles my fancy is when you look outside or you're out doing whatever during the day and you look up at the mountain and the sun is just in the perfect spot, shining off the mountainside. All the trees or rocks or whatever it is that's up there just kind of has a beautiful glow to it. I just love seeing that during the day. Taylor, what tickles your fancy?
This week, Taylor's tickled fancy is avocados. I love avocados, man.
I love avocados.
I love them. They're so good. I eat way too many.
I just bought 4 of them yesterday.
I bought 4 this morning.
Nice.
I'm so excited. I can't wait so I can go eat an avocado.
Yeah, when this is done, I'm gonna go make a sandwich with avocado in it.
How do you eat your avocado?
I like to take them out, put them in a bowl, mush them up. I don't add anything to them, and then I just like spread them on a sandwich. I just love it.
Are you toasting the bread?
I always toast the bread. You can't have a sandwich
so
without
avocado
toasted bread.
toast. Avocado
Kind of.
toast.
But I put it like in an actual sandwich. Usually I have a bit of mayo on the sandwich or on the bread, toast. Spread the avocado over it. Put on like some lunch meat kind of stuff and some cheese, and then I put it in the oven. Get that cheese melty. Oh man, so good! I'm so excited for lunch.
I know. I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. See, I use avocado as a replacement for mayo.
Oh,
So you said you put it on the sandwich with mayo.
yeah,
Right? A common thing for me is I'll make like tuna
yeah.
with avocado. And if I'm feeling really promiscuous that day, I'll toast a piece of bread, put some
Ooh.
coconut oil on it, and then put the avocado tuna on top.
I was actually going to buy some tuna because you told me about this before. I was going to buy some yesterday, and I totally forgot until I was leaving the store, and I was like, oh, it's too late.
Oh, man. It's my favorite meal. I eat it way too often, but I don't feel bad about it because it's pretty healthy.
Yeah, it's tuna
It's just,
and avocado.
yeah, tuna, mad protein. Probably not the best form of fish I could eat.
You might get a little bit too much mercury in there, some heavy metals,
Yeah,
but
I'm not too concerned. I sweat a lot. I do a lot of yoga,
you'll be
so
fine.
I think
yeah, hot yoga, it gets those toxins out.
Takes care of it. And then you got that avocado, man. It's got everybody talks about bananas. They got potassium. But dude,
too much sugar.
Avocados have way more potassium than bananas.
And they're healthier. They're healthier, like fat, cholesterol stuff. It's good for you. Whereas banana is a lot of sugar. I mean, it's healthy sugar, but it's still sugar.
Sugar is sugar, and it's you can't consume too much of it, right? People are like, oh, I'll eat all the fruit I want, and no, you can't. Well, you can do that, I guess. You're your own person. You can do whatever the heck you want. You do you, but no, you got to get some of that food in you that's gonna help you run the marathon as opposed to the mile.
That's a beautiful quote right there.
Yeah,
get that food in you that helps you run the marathon rather than the mile.
That's something I always apply. I try to apply to life, right? Everybody's so concerned with right now, and feeding that gratification, that instant gratification that we're so accustomed to now. Whereas I'm always, the reason I eat the way I eat, the reason I exercise, the reason I do these things is because it's proven that if I do it, I could live to be over 100 years old. That's a fact.
Really?
Yes, fact. 100%.
I've actually, when I was little, I did the math on how long it would take for me to see 2100. And it's pretty easy now. It's 100 years plus 8. So 108 I have to live to see 2100. Then I'll have been in 3 different millennia, or centuries? 2 different millennia, 3 different centuries.
Right.
That'd be so sweet.
Yeah, I actually had that thought for the first time probably 2 days ago. So that's interesting that you say that, because I've never had that thought before my entire life.
That's weird.
Yeah, and I ran that thought. I was like, oh, that'd be super cool.
Yeah, man, 2100, if we make it there.
I'm just interested to see how the world would look.
Yeah, if the world would be.
I think in the 70s and 80s, people thought 2000 was going to be astronomically different.
Yeah, we'd have like floating cars and these like crazy tall buildings that have like parking lots and top and crazy stuff. We don't have that.
No, but
we have the crazy tall buildings, but
maybe in 2100 we will.
Maybe.
Is that how you'll say it? 2100?
I would hope so. I mean, like, how else would you do it?
Well, we don't say 2000.
That's because it's just 2000.
Right.
But I mean, like, you could say 2100, but that's way harder than saying 2100.
You're right.
Because you say like the 1700s. You don't say 1700s.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying.
Right.
You have a point.
Right.
On that note, thank you everybody for listening to the Roots of Life podcast. We are moving on to the next topic of the day. Jimmy, tell the people what they want to hear.
Well, you're going to be really happy about this because we're talking about happiness and the practice of happiness. That's right.
Wait,
it is.
You mean what? Happiness isn't something that I just have or something that I just get?
No, you actually have to try for it sometimes. You got to practice.
It sounds like a lot of work.
It's actually not. I have a little trick for you.
Really?
Smile. That's all you need to do during the day. Remember to smile, because there are studies that have proven, actually, I think it was like in the 70s they did these studies, a few of them anyways, that when you smile, even if it's a fake smile, or if you look at somebody else smiling, or if you look at a picture of yourself smiling, or you see somebody smiling in a mirror, I guess you, obviously, you're more likely to feel happy and uplifted. It kind of tricks your brain into making you happy. You become happier by pretending to be happy in a way. But there's some certain things that come with a smile. It's not just that cheek to cheek grin. You also have some other subtle things that come into play, like the way the cheeks rise, and smiling is a lot in the eyes as well. So you have to remember those, getting happier, like feeling happier in the eyes and the face, not just in the mouth. But yeah, it's really an interesting phenomenon that smiling actually makes you happy. So all you have to do to try and be happy each day is practice smiling.
Have you ever tried actually implementing the smiling practice into your life? Because we all smile.
I have.
We all smile, right? That's a given.
Yeah.
But have you ever tried smiling on the regular to affect your current mood?
I have, and I still do. I learned about this a few years ago, and I find a lot of times when I'm driving, if I haven't had the greatest day, I'll just remember, like, smile. Try and smile, uplift your, like, bring your mood up a little bit. So I'll smile so that I can remember to just be happier. And there's been a few times where I've just smiled and gotten to the point where I just started laughing, and I was laughing so hard I had tears running out down my eyes. It was a really, like, it's only happened once, and it was really odd, but it felt so good. And it all just happened because I started smiling, and then I just felt happier, and I started singing and everything that goes along with driving, you know? I've talked about that a lot before, our habits of singing while driving.
Everybody likes singing while driving.
Oh, it's so great.
Driving, your car is not physically, but I feel like it's emotionally a safe spot.
Definitely.
You know, because in reality, I think more automobiles happen than we really like to even think about.
Yeah, more people die from car crashes than airplane crashes. I know that. That's a thing. So all you people that are afraid of flying, don't be. You'll be fine.
Be afraid of crossing the road.
Definitely. That's
Actually, don't. That's a silly fear, because that's really going to hinder the way you live your life.
Just walk on crosswalks. Don't just run across the road.
Yeah, or look both ways. Remember that lesson that your parents taught you about looking both ways before crossing.
Yeah. So that's a couple of the little things that I like, definitely. I practice smiling, remembering to smile. I like singing in the car. That makes me happy. So I do that when I'm not feeling very happy. I work on being happy. Another little thing I like to do is go for hikes. And that as well has been proven to help with happiness.
One of my favorite things to do, the power stance.
The power stance?
Yes.
Oh.
And it's basically the idea that you put your hands on your hips, almost like if you think of like a big macho man puffing his chest out. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it's just the idea that your posture affects how you feel and how you think. Mm-hmm. And so they've done studies that show that if you do the power stance for 30 to 60 seconds, it will automatically shift your mood for the better.
Well, I mean, it changes the way you breathe too.
Yeah, opens your respiratory system.
Yeah, there's studies that say that, like, crossing your arms will make you feel more guarded and a little more anxious, because you're
closing yourself off.
Yeah, you're closing yourself off. I just crossed my arms for a few seconds there and completely forgot what I was going to say. It was almost instantaneous. But yeah, then opening yourself up, not crossing your arms, even if you're doing the power stance or anything else, you're more open to new experiences, to people, things like that. You're more likely to be approached. You're more approachable and likable. But I wanted to get back on hiking really quick. I paused for a moment while I was looking for this article that I had up. But there's been a few recent studies that state that hiking reduces some negative aspects in life. So one of those things is rumination. That's when you get stuck focusing on negative thoughts. So you continue to tell yourself that you've done something wrong or you're not good enough, those sorts of things. you're focusing on the anxiety part of life. Like, what if this happens? What if that happens? I can't do that because I'm not good enough, etc. But going out and hiking, it helps to alleviate those. Another thing that it helps to alleviate, well, it doesn't help to alleviate, but it helps to boost creativity. It helps to boost creative problem solving while hiking when you're disconnected from technology. So Taylor likes to always tell me when I go hiking not to bring headphones because then I'm disconnected from technology. And it actually helps. I know I've definitely been out hiking and been working on a problem that I've had for a few days or even a few weeks. And while I'm out, all of a sudden, snap, I have it. I know the answer. And I can go home and get whatever it was that I need to do done.
It falls right in line with what I was talking about. I mean, or what I'm going to experience with Vipassana. It's just that time with yourself. It's that time to reconnect with the universal energy and, you know, just really open yourself up and allow yourself to process these thoughts rather than intaking some new form of stimulation, whether it be an audio entertainment podcast or some, you know, your favorite song, whatever it may be. You know, we all, it's part of our world and you have to learn to work with it, but it's important to take that little bit of time to really focus on yourself because it can play a huge part in your happiness.
Definitely.
You know, lack of vitamin D is a leading cause of depression. And think if you're hiking, you're out in the sun. I mean, maybe you're in a forest, but or you're on whatever, you know,
even though you're getting a lot more oxygen being in the trees. As we all know, plants release oxygen, so you're in a richer oxygen environment being in a forest and things like that. And oxygen has uplifting effects as well. Another cool thing about exercise, it increases cognitive performance. A recent study from UBC stated that aerobic exercise might improve memory and cognitive ability. I've read this in a few other places when I was researching flow as well, that exercise improved the cognitive ability of a lot of high-performance athletes and things like that. So it's just really cool to see that working your body actually improves your mind.
I like to think that's starting to become common knowledge, right?
Yeah.
That's why we exercise, we feel good, we want to do more with our day. We're feeling, you know, a little bit lighter, we're feeling more aerobic, we're just more on top of our game, we're more focused, we're able to get more done on what we want to get done. Working on your body just has so many benefits for your brain. And I think there's a lot of things that when we talk about practicing happiness, there's so many things you can do. It's such a broad topic.
Definitely.
And we can't talk about all of it, but, you know, there's certain things you can do, whether it be exercising, whatever form that may be. You know, you don't even have to go for a hike. Like, turn that word into a walk. Go for a 20 to 30 minute walk around your community. Get some oxygen, get some air, you know, move your muscles, get the circulation going. If you can, maybe like try and walk a little bit harder, you know, and just get the heart rate going a little bit. All of that will make you feel a little bit better. You can try meditating if you want, which is really simple. Just go sit down for 10 minutes, relax, focus on your breathing, try and understand how your body feels. You know, you can do the power stance, you can try and smile. About the smile, I remember working as a host at the Keg, and I used to do that. Somebody had taught me that exact same trick. Picking up the phone all the time. I used to I would pick up the phone, put it up to my ear, and take 2-3 seconds to smile. And then I would say, hello. And every time I'd say it, I would notice the difference in my tone and how I came across to the people. And so I implemented that for a long time. But eventually I stopped working at the Keg and I said, screw that.
Smiling's for suckers.
That sounds like something your PTSD great grandfather would say from the Vietnam War.
Sounds like Red from the that '70s show.
Yeah, totally,
exactly
totally.
like the Vietnam thing. That's funny.
That's so great.
Another thing, I just wanted to throw this out there. I found this blog that I'm really interested in reading. I've read a couple of them now. It's called universityofpositivity.com. If you're thinking about trying to be happier, I mean, we have a few blog posts that are on the same topic, but if you're looking for more information or just more content to look through, you can check that out as well. Taylor, you had a few other points, I think, on happiness and things to do to help yourself push yourself into a happier way of living.
Well, we're talking about a lot of things that we can do in terms of different ways that we can try living our lives to improve them a little bit. And a lot of that, as we've talked about, comes from your way of thinking. And I think one thing that I recognize in a lot of people is, and I've recognized it in myself, absolutely, is that you rely on some form of outlying factor to allow you to be happy, whether it be another person or it might be your financial situation or your living situation. These are all reasons that people tell them that they can't be happy. If only I had this, I could be happy. If only I had that jacket, or I had that car, or I had that job, or I had those parents that were able to send me to that school. And there's a lot of reasons to not be happy, but I think you just have to understand that those things will not make you happy. You will be happy maybe in the moment, right? When you get that new car, you're going to be hyped. But soon enough, whether it be the next day or a week later, that car just becomes another car. And your brain stops sending the signals of excitement.
When the novelty wears off.
Yeah, the novelty wears off, and all of a sudden you're looking for a new reason to be happy. You're looking for something else to make you happy, when really it comes from you. It comes from the inside. It comes from your ability to, accept the world for what it is, for your situation for what it is, and make the most out of your life and out of your day. It's not about where we're going to be. It's about where we are. And, don't expect that new promotion is going to make you happy. Understand what you can do right now, today, to make yourself happy, because that's what you can do. That is what you have control of. And that is the chance you have to make the most out of your day. God damn it. God. Embrace the world around you. Embrace it, and it will give you the rewards.
Yeah. I like that. Embrace everything. Embrace what you have, and just be you. You be you, man.
Don't allow on other things to make you happy. You have the power to be happy. Yeah, it's harder said than done for some people. If somebody has 30 reasons that are causing them depression, there's obviously for very good reasons why you should maybe find some form of therapy or somebody to help. But there's always something you can do. I think it's silly. I think it's foolish to think that you have no control over your life.
You are what you make yourself. Is what I say.
There we go. Topic 3 for the day. This comes from our friend, fan, and Patreon supporter, Paul. Paul asks, what's the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you? Jimmy, what is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you that you're willing to share on the air? That's a great
This is one of those things that I've told very few people besides the people that were around for this to happen.
And you're gonna tell it today.
I'm gonna tell the world today. That's what I'm gonna do.
So you went from telling virtually nobody, to now you're telling everybody.
Like basically nobody knows this.
You're putting it out there.
I'm putting it out there. Screw it. I mean, you can only be anxious about something, in my opinion, when you don't really know what the outcome's gonna be and you don't know how people are gonna take it. And honestly, when people make fun of me at this point, I'm so used to it, I don't even care. So here we go.
Just shrug it off.
Exactly. When I was in high school, I talked about this previously. We went on a band trip to, what we did was we flew down to LA. We played a show in Disneyland. We were there for a couple days hanging out in Disneyland. Then we got on a cruise ship, went to Catalina Island, and then to Mexico, back up to LA, flew back to Vancouver and home. While we were in LA, the day before we were going on this cruise ship, we went to this big buffet, the whole band and everything. Had a lot of random food there. I've never seen a buffet like that before in my life. That was like one of my first experiences with the American food. Just how much there was in this buffet and just like the crazy diversity. There was pizzas, chicken, like Chinese food, like everything in this one place. I was just blown away. So we have this buffet. The next day we're getting on a cruise ship and I realized like I am not feeling good. I'm not feeling good at all. So this is going to be really gross for some people. You may want to skip like a minute or two here if you're a little squeamish. But I really had to take a shit, like really bad. So I made it through all the lines and I like booked it to where our room was. I get in there and as I'm getting to the toilet, I shit my pants. It was bad. But
oh no.
Right? Isn't that awful? So I got myself all cleaned up. I was in that bathroom for like an hour to the point where like a worker came and like knocked on the door to see if I was okay and to see if I was in the right room and requested my boarding pass to prove it. So I had to do that like in the middle. I'm like, dude, I'm not doing okay. Like just leave me alone for a minute kind of thing. I cleaned everything up, fucking wrapped myself in a towel and just like laid on the floor of this room that I was sharing with a few friends actually. Just like not able to move, not feeling great. And so it took me about like an hour to deal with all this. And then laying there, I was waiting for my clothes to show up because the cruise ship, they get you to check your bags and then they bring them to your room after a little while. So I'm laying there on the floor in a towel with no other clothes to wear. And then the band director comes in and says, there is a mandatory safety meeting, like, so everyone knows in the event of an emergency how to get off this cruise ship. And I said, I don't have clothes. I'm not going. He says, that doesn't matter. You're going to go anyways.
You're going. Did you go in a towel?
I didn't because it wasn't for another half an hour.
That would have been amazing.
5 minutes before I had to go, my clothes showed up. So the embarrassment stopped there. Except for like a few people telling other people in the band about what happened. Because obviously I told everybody in my room, I was like, so this happened. So, cleaned it all up. You're all good. Fucking whatever. But yeah, it was a really embarrassing situation. But I think it was the buffet food that just like did not sit well with me at all. And I just got really sick from it. So I think that's what it was. Otherwise, but that's my really embarrassing story.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's super embarrassing, but hey, whatever.
Hey, we've all had them. We've all had things happen.
Yeah.
I've noticed similar things when I go to the US of A.
Yes.
That their meal portions are vastly larger than ours.
For a lot less money.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. I also have noticed that like I wear a large t-shirt because I'm tall and thin, and when I bought a large t-shirt there, I was like, what is this? Like, it was just way too big.
Yeah.
It was oversized.
It was
for
like
me.
that short person wearing like the quadruple XL back in the day because it was like the gangster thing to do.
That's kind of what I looked like on that day. There's a good chance I looked like that on a lot of other days as well, but that's besides the point right now.
So Taylor, I've told my embarrassing story. I just want to see if you have one as well.
Well, luckily for all you lucky listeners out there, I do.
Yes.
I don't know if it's quite as embarrassing. You can all be the judge of that. But I'm going to go ahead and share the story with you all anyways. So, the story that comes to my mind particularly was the time, I must have been around the same age, 16, 17.
Mm-hmm.
I was working at the Keg because I used to work at the Keg, as I think I even mentioned earlier in this episode.
A couple minutes ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was a host. I was the cute little kid wearing his dress pants and his little button-up shirt and taking all the people to their tables because I didn't like dishwashing. Oh, that was nonsense.
Yeah, we did that for a while, hey?
Yeah, we both did.
Yeah.
And after, I think I did it for about 6 months. And then I told them, I was like, look, this isn't working. I worked with an old guy. He was like this old senior dude, and he was super.
Him.
He was super senile, and
He's still there.
He would yell at me for like being too slow at my job because I would work too fast, and so I eventually like got into a huge fight with him because I was an arrogant little shit when I was in high school, and then from there, I was like, you gotta let me work out front. That's what I want to do, and so they said sure. Because, I don't know, because they like me. So, that is kind of the side story. Anyways, I was a host of the Keg. I, one day, working, took 4 people to their table. I think it was 2 men, 2 women. And maybe a business meeting of some sort. Or, they looked like business age and had suits on and nice dresses or whatever. And the one lady, as she sits down and I'm standing at her table and I'm getting ready to give them some menus, she says, "Hey, your fly's down." And I was like, oh no. And I was super embarrassed. And then all of a sudden she turns to me and she says, "What the fuck's wrong with you?" And I was like, whoa. Like at that point I was this young man who was probably not super confident. I don't really remember. I might not have bugged me too much of the time, but I just remember like being super red, and I was just, all I said was, "All right, I'm gonna walk away now," and I just left and didn't go back to that table for the rest of the night. Not as embarrassing, but it was still embarrassing.
That's okay.
To me.
That sounds pretty embarrassing.
It was pretty embarrassing. Like a lady yelling, "What is wrong with you?" with a curse word in there.
Yeah.
In the middle of a restaurant. When there's all my coworkers around, all my friends around, and I was embarrassed. I blushed a little. I got a little red, and then I walked away, and never wanted to go back ever again.
Do you ever feel like if you could just like see that woman again today, and you could yell at her, so she got to see how it feels?
No, I don't think so. I had so many experiences like that. I think at the Keg.
Ah, okay.
Just working, there was other experiences as well where I think they all kind of just like mush together. I don't think one really excels the other, or successes the other. I don't know what the word is there, but so yeah, that was quite embarrassing for me.
Yeah. I just want to say, if you have an embarrassing story that you want to share, that'd be really cool too. So you can send it in. You can tell us if you want it read on the podcast, or if you just want to tell us, that'd be cool. Either way. Taylor, I think we have a couple other challenges for the listeners this week. What are they?
I don't know. You tell me.
Oh, okay. If you're listening, the challenge for this week is send us a picture of your favorite place and maybe accompany it with a story of the best time or most embarrassing time or weirdest time you've ever had in that place.
I call that manipulation at its finest. I didn't want to say it, so I got you to do it.
That worked well. I know.
I thought so. And the second challenge for everybody today, whatever day it is that you are listening, is to just try putting that smile on as much as it may hurt you today. You know, try implementing one of those small practices that we talked about, putting your hands in your hips, cracking that smile, go out for a quick 20-minute walk when you get home from work, whatever it might be. Do something to just be happy. That's all we want for everybody. If the world was happy, how great would the world be?
Pretty great.
The next and final segment of the day. Now,
I'm
this
really
is
excited for this.
Me
Really
too.
excited.
This is something that we talked about, and we couldn't express more excitement to share this with everybody, and we hope everybody will share the enthusiasm and share the support for our artist of the week. Every week from here on out, we are going to play a song at the end of the podcast. We are going to tell you their name. We are going to share the social media handles for the artist in the description below. And we hope that you all follow them, support them. Now, this artist this week, she's a good friend of mine. Her name is Molly Aspinall. She is from Surrey, British Columbia. She is in the CBC Searchlight contest in BC. Is it BC wide? Yeah, I think it's BC.
I would assume it's BC wide, yeah.
Yeah. So you can vote there daily. There's a lot of people in it. Go check it out. You can go on there. You can vote. Her name is Molly Aspinall, Aspinall.
We'll leave a link in the description as well that you can go click on just to go straight to her.
Yeah, and you can vote once a day. So don't just vote once and think that you've done your deed. I don't think so. You can vote every day for our artist of the week. Go support her, show her some love. This is Molly's song, The Bitter Taste. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Stay weird.
Picking up speed, tearing down roads far from where you were. With tired minds and broken hearts, you fall back into her. Should I have seen it coming? Saw the warnings, braced myself for hurt. I said, where are you going? Why are you running as you leave me in the dirt? Someone like you, yeah, they're hard to find. They're out of sight but far from out of mind. It's the bitter taste your body craves, but you're barely hanging on. You're wild, you're caught, and it breaks my heart that it's really been this long. The one you turn to is the one that burns you. I know the truth, I've seen it all. This is not who you are, and it breaks my heart as you fall apart. You had really come so far. Someone like you, yeah, they're hard to find. You're out of sight but far from out of mind. It's the bitter taste your body craves, but you're barely hanging on. You're wild, you're caught, and it breaks my heart that it's really been this long. The one you turn to is the one that burns you. I thought I knew you. What has it come to? I'm falling to pieces. too. I'm falling to pieces and I'm lost without you. You say it's the bitter taste my body craves and I'm barely hanging on. I'm a wild card and it breaks my heart, but I need you to be strong.